Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Yes, you're probably seeing, doesn't he ever change his t-shirt? Well, I kind of recorded like 4 videos back to back, so it saves me some time. And if there's any other news coming out throughout the week, as well as reacts that I'm going to be doing, it does help. But there was this clip by Cyborg, sorry, and I actually disagree with him here. Apparently, if you leave Game Pass after you played what you wanted and don't want to pay for it forever, then you're part of the problem. Wow. Now, I think he's completely and utterly misconstrued what is being said here, and I'm not sure whether that was just due to his ignorance or just purely because he didn't grasp what was actually being said. So I want to go through it and react to it and, just give my thoughts on what these two are actually saying, Boom and CMoney, because in my opinion, what is actually being construed here by Cyborg and what is being here, by other people is clearly mistaking what they're saying. And as you can see from what I said, well, despite the thread being full of people wanting to mock this take from a business standpoint, it makes perfect sense. Obviously, from a consumer side, it doesn't. But looking at it objectively, giving games away for $1 or $10 was never going to continue. And if their stats showed that more people sign up for the 1 and 10 than immediately bounce, well, any organization is going to change strategy. Does add another dynamic of consideration, and if the rise in price was also attributed to this, actually get more from those one and done, whereas to the ones subbing for a year, the increase is extremely minimal. So let's just listen to what he has to say. It's a bit of a long clip, 7 minutes long, but hopefully this will shed some light on what's been done and said.
We're not even we're not even talking about the same thing, but this is what people want to put out there. They want to lie. They want to have omissions from their story, right? They want to make it look like Xbox is somehow screwing over its people. And these are like big people that I saw come out here. Like what's his name? Zuge? It's like ZHU. I don't know. But even
Oh,
he came out.
a Z huge. I think that's what it
Yeah, is
is.
he huge or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah,
He's like
yeah.
a big dude, and he came out here talking about how this is a play for them to get Xbox gamers to up from Xbox Game Pass to Xbox Ultimate Game Pass, right? Like, what are you talking?
There is a play there, but not the way that Zook is actually saying. We discussed this in my stream yesterday. The play is to get people from standard to Game Pass Ultimate because the value difference for $5 is incredibly huge by going to Ultimate. But from console to Ultimate, it's not as big. And for those of you that are still on console, you will remain there as long as you are subscribed.
Talking about, dude? No, it's clearly not. It's right there. This is about new people. The old people are not changing. The old people don't have to do a damn thing. The only thing the old people have to do is keep their subscription current. Don't let it lapse. Listen, I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, if you're someone who said to themselves, "Well, I'm just gonna subscribe when a game comes out that I want," I'm sorry. You're not someone that's worth going ahead and throwing their 2 cents in there for and trying to protect you. It's just not. You're trying to beat the system, right?
And what he's saying here is absolutely true. Like I've seen a lot of people going, "Oh, I signed in for, I signed up to Game Pass for $1, and I got this $70 game. I played it, and then I canceled my subscription immediately." See, those people are the problem. Microsoft allowing that is the idea of it is to gain you access into the ecosystem. You enjoy what you play, you stay on. It's like a cheap way into the system for them to then continue the subscription. But people have been exploiting this by creating new accounts, new gamer tags, and so forth, and actually going about it that way, new email addresses entirely, every time they're doing it to get that $1 deal in order to play. So they are part of the problem. So this going away, this is a huge consideration for this, and CMoney is bang on the money on this one. He is it has to have had an impact on the decision with the way Game Passes went, because at the end of the day, paying $1 or $10 continuously and then bouncing after the first month is bound to raise eyebrows on their statistics, and people internally will catch on to this very, very quickly and want to make changes.
You're going into a subscription and saying, wow, 3 games come out this month that I really want. And wow, I'm going to save $160 because I'm going to pay $17.99 or just the $11 to get in for a month and then bounce. I'm sorry, but you're part of the problem, right?
Essentially, yes, he's correct. Because from a business point of view, these people that do this on a regular basis are what influences the changes that happen in Game Pass to prevent that from happening. So even if it is like a minority doing it, where in my opinion there's a lot more than a minority, you know how the saying is, the minority few ruin it for the rest? This is that situation here.
You're part of the reason why this has to happen. Because when people come in only for a game for one little time and then leave, you lower the value of what's happening in their numbers, right? You throw off their numbers, right? So this is why they have to do what they do. So they're taking the people who did not waver, the people who do not bounce in and out anytime, something comes in that they like, and people who are just subscribed to the service, those people are safe. And I think that's absolutely fair. 100%. I think that's fair for the people who are ride or die, who just sit there and support the ecosystem that is Game Pass on a constant basis. We are the reasons why those games can come in here.
And he has a valid point there. Microsoft is essentially looking after its own. And those people that come in, bounce, and try to get a cheap deal, those are the ones that's really seeing the difference in price. Those are the ones that are being affected by this. And at the end of the day, in my opinion, that's fair game. Look, I'm a founder member for NVIDIA GeForce Now. I get my subscription to GeForce Now every 6 months, way cheaper than people paying for it right now. But because I was there from early on and I've been subscribing ever since, NVIDIA is looking after me. But for those that, came in and left and then came in and left, those people are now paying way more than I am. And I think that's fair.
Right? It's not the people who are coming in every once in a while. They're not the reason that we're getting all these day and day games. It's for the people who are there all the time, right? Those are the
Consistent payer. Yeah.
Yeah, the consistent payer are the people who Xbox looked at and say, wow, these are the people that we can go ahead and do this investment for because they're solid. They're here for the ride. And we're going to make sure we're providing something great to keep them involved, to keep them going. Those are the people who are benefiting. Those are the people who keep their subscription. It is what it is. Again, I have no sympathy for the idea of new people coming in after we've had months where back in the day, listen, I've been subscribed to Game Pass since day one.
Yeah, me
20
too. Since
was
summer of
2017.
17, I've been paying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. Like, and there was times during these years that maybe it didn't have all the biggest games that you would want in your subscription, but you still got out of it, right? There was just games that were good that you enjoyed. They weren't the biggest games in the world, but you stuck by, right? You just
See, this take here, I don't agree with at all, like at all. At the end of the day, a business is supposed to be vying for your money. A business is supposed to be providing you with a service in order to, retain you and keep you. The whole notion of, well, they're giving you bare bones, but they're giving you enough to scrape by and you're doing that. You're essentially just saying there that, I'm loyal to Xbox and no matter what they do, I'm going to do this. That isn't the mentality that you need here. The mentality that you need here is this service providing me with the value to keep me paying? And if the answer is no, then unsubscribing is probably fair. Now that is totally different to those people who come day one with like Hellblade 2, for example, sign up for $1 or $10, play the game, and then bounce immediately after the first month because they've got what they want. And when Avowed comes along, they'll sign up for $10, play Avowed for $10, complete it within the month, and then move on. And Indiana Jones will come along, they'll sign up for a month. You get the picture, right? So for those people now, if you want to come in and bounce, Microsoft wants more money from you. They want double the money, and they're going to get it because you're still going to pay that money to get it at a cheaper rate. But what CMoney is saying here, I totally disagree with. You shouldn't be complacent. You shouldn't be giving that sort of freedom to a company just because it's a preferred platform. They should always be fighting and vying to have your money. The moment they don't have to do that, they win and you lose.
Just enjoyed what you got. It was just an extra source of getting games. You still bought the games you wanted or played the games you wanted outside of the subscription. What they have done is they've now gotten to the point where, honestly, if you really wanted to, you can live off of Game Pass.
You
I mean,
can.
let's be clear. If you wanted to, the version that we have today,
Right
you
now,
can
you can.
choose never to buy another game outside of your Game Pass
That is
subscription. Even though
100% true.
we know factually it's typically the opposite, where people are buying more games because of Game Pass. But
I disagree with that as well. I mean, to a certain extent, if the games were selling extremely well, Microsoft would have reported numbers, just like they did with Starfield.
if you chose to, if you have a Game Pass subscription, you don't need any other games. They give you so many games every month that are high quality. We're not talking nonsense games. You know what I'm saying? Like there's obviously always some, a couple here and there that are like obviously geared towards, the smaller niches. But at
Hellblade
the end of
2.
the day, there's so much content available to you that, come on, man. Like the people who are out there trying to say that this is a L for Xbox, I'm sorry, it's not. It's, if anything, all that shows to me is how serious they are about Game Pass, how much they want to keep investing in Game Pass.
And I agree with that statement entirely. I don't think that this is an L. I think it's purely a push to invest more, capitalize on those dippers that keep coming in for 1 month and leaving at the $1 price bracket and the $10 price bracket, and now getting them to pay more for that 1 month as opposed to less. And so, yeah, I fully agree with that statement.
They're weeding out those dippers, right? Those people
There
who
you
dip
go.
in and out, right? Because now that 10.99, right? That people would say, okay, I'm gonna subscribe for 1 month, pay $11 and play the games that I wanted because now enough of them are in there that I want, and then they leave for a month. Now that doubles, right? Almost, right? Now you got to pay $20 if you want to play the new.
There you go.
And now you're talking a different ball game, right? If you're paying
Yes,
$20
you are.
for a month, that's still a phenomenal price
Amount of
versus
money.
buying all those games, but they found a way to get more from you,
Yep.
right? They doubled how much they're getting from the person who likes to just jump in when a game comes out. I mean, think
Yep.
about it. I mean, this is literally what happened. Hellblade comes out. Instead of the people who went and paid $11, got in, beat the game, and then canceled, now they had to pay 20, right?
There you
So
go.
you take that
Exactly what
number
I
and you
said.
double how much they make from it. That's a win, right? That shows that now
That's a win for Microsoft and not the consumer. So he is looking at this purely from a business perspective, and maybe that's the wrong perspective to look at it. But at the end of the day, if the business doesn't do well, then that's going to go get passed on to the consumer. And if Microsoft is looking after their loyal fans that are, subscribed for a year and whatnot, and providing them with a good service, then it starts to blur the lines. But he is primarily now looking at this from a business perspective as opposed to a consumer perspective. But there are areas there where the lines get blurred.
they have more money coming in, they can invest more. And that's what I care about as a Game Pass subscriber.
There you go.
I don't like
That's the bloodline.
disingenuous takes, right? I gotta be honest with you. If you know for a fact that you're an ultimate subscriber, okay? If you know for a fact you're an ultimate subscriber and you are okay spending 20 versus the 17, all right? I do believe you have to think about the message you're putting out there. If you're going, and I'm talking about people who are, they know very well that they're gonna have that $20 subscription. Why would you go out into Twitter or anywhere else and say that you have a problem with the increase that you know damn well you're gonna keep? The only message you should be saying is, yeah, the extra price, not excited for it, but
Yeah, I disagree with that to a certain extent because the first start of the year for Microsoft has been pretty weak. People may argue with that. This is my opinion and my opinion only. The first half to this year has been extremely weak, lackluster for Microsoft. The second half is looking extremely packed, and if all the games are coming out, it will more than make up for it. But that cadence kind of needs to be spread out for the whole year. But for the first half of the year, you could really have gotten away as a Game Pass subscriber by, buying the two games and still saving money. if you were just looking at games that were exclusive to Xbox and first party, which is Hellblade 2 and Powerworld, you probably could have purchased those for $80 and still saved money along the way for your Game Pass, potentially, before resubscribing again in the summer. So I think, in that regard, them increasing it after having such a weak first half of the year is what raised the eyebrow. If they had a strong first half to the year and then raised it, I don't think anyone would be batting an eyebrow. You'd be looking at all of the, those 4 AAA games that came out in the first half of the year, those AA games, and you're like, damn, this is such an action-packed first half of the year. I don't really care if they increase it by £2. It's well worth the money. But when they don't do that and you have what we have currently, then eyebrows are going to be raised and people should be airing their grievances because you expect and you want Microsoft to do better because you are a paying customer. So that part there I disagree with.
But it's still the value that I find, right? Because I know I'm keeping that subscription. That's the only thing you need to be saying. I know I'm keeping a subscription. If you have people who are following you on Twitter and they're looking at you saying, what does he think? Is it still good value? I don't follow games all that much. I know I got Game Pass because it has a lot of games that are in there. Is it still worth it at this price? Because they would know, right? They follow gaming every single day. They would know. If you're gonna come out there and be disingenuous and say, "Ah, this price increase sucks. I don't know if it's worth it anymore," but then you damn well know you're not canceling that subscription, get out of here with your like shut up, dog. Like be quiet. You're creating a problem that you know you yourself don't really have an issue with.
And I 100% agree with this. A lot of people that are coming out right now that are saying, oh, this and that, but they're not going to cancel their subscription, even though they're just doing it for the clout, the clicks, the likes. There's a lot of that going on right now. I'm literally thinking $2, and I asked like everyone I know in real life that, that is a gamer. I put, that I talk to regularly, and they just said, meh, it's the can of a Red Bull. 1 Red Bull can for the whole month. That's not a bad deal, as long as they're delivering on the content. See, that's the caveat. If you are delivering on the goods, they don't care. They only care when you're not delivering. So if they had a strong month going forward, a strong 6 months that we've had now, none of this would have been a problem. No one would have batted an eye. No one would have cared. It's because Xbox has had a weak first 6 months that people are raising their eyebrows and having concern. But let's see what the next 6 months is going to bring and if that will actually change it. I think there's a lot of good points here. Like I said, in this whole section here, I really think there's a lot of people just being completely and utterly disingenuous and they're not understanding the scope of what he's saying. It is not a horrendous take. It is actually a very valid take and one that I, for the most part, I'm actually behind because it makes a lot of sense. People are just always looking at it from a consumer perspective, which is fine, but in the end, nothing comes for free, right? And if you're expecting everything to come for free, you're going to get nothing in return. So, you've got to be logical and sensible about things. We do want things at the cheapest price possible, especially in this economic climate where things are just godly expensive. But at the same time, you still want to have that value delivered. And so there's a bit of give and take from both sides. But that's my thoughts on this. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. And Boom and CMoney, if I've said anything that you disagree with or want to discuss, feel free to reach out, guys. And I'm more than happy to sit down and have that conversation with you, either on my show or on your show or any show there is out there. I'm an open book as it comes, so feel free to reach out. But folks, that's the end of the video. Do consider leaving a like and subscribe. Hit that bell to stay up to date if you've enjoyed the content. And for more awesome content like this, I will see you in the next one. Don't forget that you can subscribe, you can support me further through my YouTube membership, my Superfans, and of course Patreon. And I will see you in the next one.